Okay, here we go. This one's one we've been looking forward to for a while. Didn't quite end the way we wanted it to last year, and we haven't forgotten about that. So, looking forward to going to Austin here on Friday and playing this game on Saturday. So, I got to prepare for some heat. It's going to be hot down there. We're well aware of that. Although I don't think it is going to be as hot as some of the games that we've already played this year. I don't think so. But we'll be prepared for that. And a lot of guys in our locker room have been to Austin, been on that field. Don't think we'll be surprised by any of the excitement that they have surrounding their program at this point in time. So, but it'd be next one. We got to get ready to play every week. If you learned anything from the last two games we played, you're not going to play. You're going to get beat. It's no different than any of the other 9 Big 12 teams in our league. If you're ready to play, then you got a chance to win. If you're not ready to play, then you're going to get beat. It's college football for you. So it happened to us. It's happened to them. They've been in some tight games and won. Obviously, the one against Oklahoma 3 weeks ago stands out. So Oklahoma's playing pretty good at this point in time. Won a close one against Baylor. Probably it had something to do with their quarterback problem at the time. Then lost a close one at Oklahoma State last week. So it's not surprising any of that. Anything that I've said is not surprising in the Big 12. It's not surprising because of college football. Things start with their quarterback. Ellinger's coming into his own. He's really a fantastic football player. I thought he was good last year. Just it's hard for true freshmen to play at a high level. So, but he got a lot of valuable experience last year. They run him a lot. He's heavily involved in their run game. Has scored 8 touchdowns with his feet. So they rely on that. They built their offense around it. It's no different than what Coach Herman did at Houston or even his days at Ohio State. He always ran the quarterback, and he's good at it. He's 6'3" and 225. He looks every bit of it. He looks to me like he's much more comfortable in the pocket now, throwing the ball well, made a lot of plays, extending plays last week against Oklahoma State, and looks comfortable doing so. I think they're good up front. O-line wise, I think they do a great job. Herb Hand is a name that everybody remembers. Was here at one point, got a lot of respect for him. So they're playing well up front, the quarterback's doing a good job. Got 3 different running backs, all 5-star guys that are capable of being the main guy. When you got that many of them, you use all of them. It's no different than what we do with our running backs. And then obviously what stands out at receiver are the basketball players that they got out there. The 6'5" and 6'6" guys, they're both the same. They're both talented. They're both tall, big, can run, and have made a bunch of plays for them. So we got our hands full on defense, to say the least. Defensively, I think Todd Orlando's done a good job with that group. He's no stranger to this part of the country. He's from Pittsburgh and coached at UConn. Got a lot of respect for him with what he's done. But getting those guys playing hard, they got a lot of older guys, experienced guys, a lot of guys that Coach Strong recruited, and now 4 years later, we've faced a lot of these guys for the last 3 years. A lot of seniors on that group. I'm glad about 3 of them came out early. They had that would be 3 more NFL caliber players that would mix in with that defense that they got, which would be scary. But with that said, they got a lot of experience, a lot of older guys mixed in with 4 or 5 more 4- and 5-star guys that are playing as true freshmen, and 2 of them are starting, and a couple of the other ones play a good bit as well. So a lot of talent on that defense. They're big up front. You got linebackers that make tackles, safeties that run, corners that cover. Offensively, we got our work cut out for us. They're going to be very multiple with what they do as well. Special teams wise, I think they do a great job. They have, we got Billy the kicker. They got Dicker the kicker. So the freshman kicker is a good player. You know, he's doing a good job with his field goal stuff. And then another Australian punter that, thank God, is not quite where the other one was. The other one is like performing at an NFL Pro Bowl level in the NFL. But this guy's, I think, going to be a pretty good one for him. So, you know, but you can tell they spent a lot of time with special teams. They you know, got really good players, obviously, and spend the time with it, coach them up, so their schemes are sound and their specialists are pretty special. Return-wise, they got, you know, several different ones they put back there. They're trying to get 17 to be the guy. Jameson, he's a dynamic freshman, you know, probably another 5-star guy that they put back there that has skills. You know, they beat Kansas State on the punt return, which, you know, Kansas State's the one that usually wins on punt returns, but they beat them on the punt return, forced the fumble on their punt return. So in a close game against Kansas State, special teams was the difference, which is ironic saying that against Kansas State team. So they do a good job, you know, in all three phases. They do a good job. They got loads of talent. You know, our guys are going to be excited about going to Austin and playing that environment. You know, looking forward to it. I know we'll be ready to go. Coach Hunter, what you got?
This deep in the season, you've probably seen a lot of almost everything, but does Texas do anything unique that you're going to have to adjust to?
Well, no. They're good at what they do. They have good schemes. Their offense really kind of reminds you a lot like what we were 2 years ago with Skyler, because we ran him so much. You know, they got good passing game schemes. You know, they're sound up front. They want to run the ball. They get the quarterback involved in it, so you got to account for him. And then they can drop back and throw it to NFL receivers. You know, so you know it's not like we haven't seen that. You know, Texas Tech had 6'5" receivers, and you know, we had to defend against that. You know, Iowa State does a lot of stuff with motions and tight ends and quarterback run game. You know, so. We'll have a feel for what they do. The hard part about it is defending it, obviously. You know, and then defensively, it's a 3 down front that can kick to a 4 down front, a lot like Iowa State, a lot like Kansas, a lot like Texas Tech. You know, they do the 4 layers of defense, you know, with that extra safety, like Gibby's done forever. You know, how much they get that guy involved in the run game is what we're going to have to figure out. But you know, we've seen it all, and you know, we'll have a good plan. You know, and we'll be ready to play. We're expecting a hard-fought game, and hopefully the ball bounces our way.
Can you give us a status update, Coach, on Tonkery, Qualls, and Ferns?
I could if I wanted to. We'll see how those guys practice. They're the 2 long-term guys that have been hurt for 6 months are now ready to play. Now we got to go out and practice. You know, I'm not saying they're playing, or I'm not saying they're starting or any of that. We got to go out and practice and see how it looks. You know, if they help us, then we play them. If they're not ready to go and they can't help us, then we won't play them. Tonkery's in the same boat. Pitts is in the same boat. Joe Brown's in the same boat. You know, we got guys coming back. Just whenever they're ready to roll is when we put them out there. That's no different than any other team in the country at this point in time.
And how do you handle your running backs? You have special, I don't think like special plays, but sets for each one of them, or do you go by feel? I mean, go by hot hand? How do you handle that?
Yeah, we don't restrict what those guys can do from a play call perspective. If you know, one guy goes in, you know, Jake doesn't say which running back's in to be able to figure out what plays we're going to call. They all have a little different skill set, so we may try to gear them towards what plays we call. Get one guy in there for a screen, or get a guy in there because we know they're gonna blitz, or one guy, you know, we want to run the routes, or one guy we want to be on the goal line. I mean, we'll kind of gear it towards that, but none of them are restricted with what we can call. You know, all 4 of them can play, can run the entire game with. So it's good. It's always good to have a feature back like we've had in the past. Like Wendell, in my mind, was a feature back there his junior year. Iowa State's guy, I think everybody would agree, is a featured guy. But having 4 guys that can go in there and play, I think, is the best approach, just based on health and wear and tear. But they got to be selfless players too, and I think all 4 of those guys are. So they're all 4 of them get along and they're rooting for the other guys when they go in. We're trying to do as much 2-back stuff as we can to get those guys involved, and that's just a week-by-week game plan.
These guys don't turn the ball over much. Is that because of what they do, or is it just protecting the ball? What do you see there?
I think, well, it starts with the quarterback. He's doing a good job. They got 6 turnovers in 8 games. That's pretty good. It starts with the quarterback. That quarterback's got to have that trait. There's quarterbacks that do a good job with it, and there's quarterbacks that are pretty careless with the ball, so to speak. And, I think Ellinger does a really good job at that, especially because they run him so much. To not put that ball on the ground. He's a big, strong guy, and then making decisions as well. I think he's a smart player, and I think he's the one that's extra careful with the football as well. And their team does a good job with it. So. We've been getting some turnovers. I guess that hat has something to do with it. So hopefully we can create a few of them. I'm always with this stance. A couple of turnovers here and there isn't really the difference in the game. I mean, it's about what you do with the turnovers. It's one reason why we dominated Baylor is because we created them. We didn't have any turnovers. We got 5. I count turnover on downs as the same thing as a turnover. It's all about field position, which we dominated. And then we dominated that stat as well.
In general, when guys come back from a long-term injury, do you try to look at a snap count, keep them to, or it just depends on the situation?
Yeah, everybody's different. How they come back and how comfortable they get is everybody's a little bit different. We got a pretty good medical staff here that is careful enough to where they're not going to put them out there before they're truly ready. There's some different tests that they can do to make sure that they're ready, but then there's the mental aspect of it as well. That's why you gotta practice. I mean, the guys are cleared. That doesn't mean they're gonna play. I gotta wait and see how they practice and to make sure that they're comfortable and they're the best ones for that position. We got a lot of guys that were playing, so there's a lot of competition, which is why we're still improving. Played 66 guys last week, so that was great. Our snaps are distributed over 76 guys throughout the course of 7 games. So it's a lot of people to rep, and that creates competition. And we just add those guys to the mix, and we make decisions. That's what they pay us to do on who's going to get the reps.
Austin unique in terms of just environment, and I mean the stadium.
Yeah. It's a 100,000 seat stadium. That's a little different than most. I've seen that place really good. Most of our guys that are on our team can understand that environment. We've played in those environments before, and it's one that that we're excited about. We've had success down there, so our guys are they're gonna be fired up about going. It's a nice place. Austin's a great city. And the University of Texas has great tradition, great facilities, great location, really good weather, a lot of good stuff. It's fun to go there. I've been there a bunch. I bet you I've coached there 10 times.
Flipping Sills over to right guard seemed to stabilize the line. Why do you think that worked so well?
I didn't know we did that. You sure we did that?
Like 3 quarters.
Yes.
Yeah.
The right guard?
Yep.
Sills did.
Barrett played left.
Yeah. Well, when Barrett went in there, we did. We won't do that with Hardy. We won't do that with Joe Brown. We won't do that with Mike Brown, who gets the nod this week. That had nothing to do with it. I can assure you that. Sills is a versatile player. that can go back and forth. There's 5 other guards that can't do that.
So that's what'd you think of Barron when he got out?
Okay. I mean, we got 6 linemen, 7 linemen that need to play better. You know, I'm happy with where Yodney and Colton are at. I'm happy with Josh Sills, but the other 7 need to keep improving. I thought we were targeted better. I thought our Coach Wick did a good job with those guys getting ready to go. We got to keep improving that. Just the whole blocking aspect of it. I talked a lot about this after the game, but just the whole blocking in general was good. That just doesn't mean the 5-0 lineman. You know that. It's about Wesco making a difference and blocking, and the backs doing a better job with play call, with pass protection, and then we blocked really well on the perimeter. And I haven't been able to say that here in like 3 years. So as happy as that as well.
What does it make Sills a touchdown player? I mean, they're faster players, and probably. I don't know if there are more skilled players, but what does he have that others can't quite grasp?
Hand-eye coordination helps, obviously, but just body control more than anything. You know, those 2 touchdowns he had, that coverage was good. You know, I thought 23, the corner from Baylor, was a good player. Grad transfer from Temple. He's got a lot of experience. I thought he's real handsy. He got his hands on him. So David was covered, but his body control and his technique allowed him to position himself to be able to catch that when the defender couldn't. So great receivers that can catch fade routes, and the touchdown aspect of it is extra special just based on the closer you get to the goal line, the less space there is. So you're going to be covered. And the great ones are guys that understand how to use body control, and that's technique, because we coach the heck out of it, but be able to position your body to where you can catch that and the defender cannot. David's as good as I've ever seen it.
He scored a touchdown on his first catch.
Yeah, I mean he's really good at it.
Maybe his last one.
Yeah, I mean there's guys that, and I think there's a mentality that needs to exist to be able to score. I mean, we talk a lot about that. Find guys that can score. Say duh, don't you want all your guys to be able to score? There's guys that have a knack for scoring, and he's one of those guys that has a knack for scoring. Stedman was great at it. Mike and I were talking about the number of touchdowns. Stedman had 25 touchdowns in 1 year. I mean, he has a knack for scoring, and his body control is unbelievable. Being able to catch balls with that doesn't just mean high point it. I mean, that's 100% technique and body control. David has that, and Stephen had that as well.
Danny, going back to Wesco, not just the receptions, but it seems like you all moved him around to help with the running game too, leading and playing on the line in the backfield too. I'm curious how much of that is just where you moved him along to get better. Was it just the right day and time for that, or?
Just developed. That's his skills as a tight end are continuously developing. He's really started doing some good things in the pass game that wasn't a quality that he possessed a year ago. He's just really starting to come into his own. I mean, we felt like Eli was a better blocker than him last year. That's why Eli played all the time. Wesco over spring and throughout the course of camp, I thought has really done a good job with his blocking, and the more we want to play him, the more we want to be